Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And we're continuing here near Portadown. And where we are now is we're actually outside Drumcree Parish Church, as you can see. And of course, Drumcree means ridge of the boundary. And the parish of Drumcree was formed in 1110 AD. And it's quite a substantial church that's here today, as you can see. And I'll try and pronounce this gentleman's name. It's David Macallaghan, I think it is. Macallaghan. David Macallaghan, who was the first vicar, and he died in 1414. So you'll forgive me if I'm pronouncing his surname wrong. And there's many 1800 graves here, but there's also 1700s. That's the earliest I've found, and also they're mixed with modern ones as well. But this man here, you can read here, this memorial of John Carey Jr. He was the son of the Reverend John Carey, who was a Wesleyan minister, and he was a Wesleyan minister in Londonderry, and was created, I think that says, by his shopmates and associates to record their sense of his many, and I can't really make that out. See if the torch helps. No. And excellent qualities. And then it goes on. So there you are. So that's the son of the Reverend John Carey, and that's John Carey Jr. And then this one here is an old grave. It looks like a wee bit like a fireplace in the wall there, as you can see. And it says, "Here lieth the body of Miss Dorothy Bolton, who departed this life on the 31st day of October." And as you can see from the date there, it's 1722. So that's an old grave there. No doubt about it. A unique grave. It certainly does look like a fireplace, doesn't it? Built into the wall. But there you are. There's a couple of more old graves there. There you can see the church and the bell tower. So I'm going to take you a wee walk round. There's a few old graves I'll show you as we go. Let's see, back at the church. So there's a few old gravestones here that I'm going to show you. That's the first one. I don't know what age that one is. That one's 1897, and it's James Thornton Foy in memory. And then this one's 1863, Joseph Mackay, to the memory of his son George, Alex, and George Alex, I think that is Mackay, born the 5th, and Mackay, born the 5th of February 1859, died the 11th of October 1863. That one's James Lancaster. Joint, I think that is, or Joint. Not sure how to pronounce it. He was a captain there. His father and mother, brother and sisters, Eliza Lancaster, wife of Captain John Percy Artisoff. The names are really hard to pronounce here. Joint, I think that is, of Hollymount, Galway. Died 30th of November 1826, aged 55 years. So that was a captain. There's another. It says there James on down. James Joint, son of Captain Joint, and he died 1878. Now, he was just the son, he wasn't a captain himself. So there you go. And there's a few more. And this is an old one here, if I remember rightly. I think here left the body of Elizabeth Crockett, I think it is. Departed this life 1815. That's 1815. And 1827 for John, who is, I assume, is her husband. And that one's Hugh Matthews, memory of Hugh Matthews, 1862. He died. And then, if I can see a date on this one, which we can't, it's broke, as you can see. Funny the way that, it's as if those graves, it's as if they've cemented round those graves, isn't it? That originally this was grass and those graves were actually taller than what they are now. I don't think their monuments are actually that size. I think actually what's happened is they've tarmac round here and covered the graves, I would assume. And that's the 19th century as well. So there you go. A lot of old graves here. Now this parish, the parish of Drumcree, actually remained Catholic until the 16th century Reformation. And then in 1563, the powerful Irish chieftain Shane O'Neill, he met the English Crown's representative here, Thomas Cossack, and they agreed what's known as the Treaty of Drumcree, but it was never actually implemented. Now you can see a lot of the modern graves there as well, and there's a mixture of old graves and modern graves. And then in 1609, the church was actually in ruins, because it shows you on a map that it's actually in ruins. And then the following then the Ulster plantation in 1610, a new Protestant church was built here, which was a plain stone building, rough cast and whitewashed. And in 1854, it was decided then to build a new church, and the foundation stone was laid on 17th of May 1855, and the church was consecrated on the 20th of October 1856. And so this is the church here, and it's roughly on the original site of the earlier church, so quite amazing. And I'm going to show you a wee grave here. Some of these, if I can read them. Hard to make that one out. Can we make this one out? No, not really. Hard just to make some of them out. So there you are. But you can see the old graves are mixed in with the modern graves. And then of course the Church of Ireland was disestablished in 1871, and as a result Drumcree lost most of its land. Most of its lands actually, it was known as the glebe. So quite a history to this church, no doubt about it. And I think this grave here, although the boundary of it looks very new, I think this is an old grave here. Here lies the body of Joseph Todd, who departed this life 22nd of October 1758, aged 39. So there you are. That's an 18th century grave there, although it's enclosed within a more modern grave, as you can see. A bit unique, that, isn't it? And of course that's Todd, in loving memory of John Todd. Passed away the 18th of June 1975, aged 67 years. Robert John Alexander Todd Passed away 2nd of December 1952, sorry, aged 4 years. Like, that was just a wee child, so it was. And then Ida Winifred Todd, and she passed away 11th of June 2003, and she was 87 years. So you've got right up there from the old in 1758, who was Joseph Todd, who was there to the Todd family descended, and you've got them right up then to 2003. That's quite remarkable. There's no doubt about it. You don't normally see a grave like that, so that's quite remarkable. And of course, this church is also known for something else, of course. And while I'm here, I have to mention it. You can't do it with not mentioning it. And of course, that's the Drumcree standoff. Because for several years in the 1990s, Drumcree here drew international attention as the scene of the Drumcree standoffs. And if you're old enough, you would have seen them on television, because it didn't only reach local news, but it also reached international news. And each year the Orange Order was banned from walking down the Garvackie Road to and from their church service in Drumcree Parish Church here. Residents from the neighbourhood had actually blocked the road, and thousands of Orange men and supporters tried to force their way through, but were held back by the security forces, who had built large steel and barbed wire barricades to keep the Orange men back. And these yearly sieges of Drumcree ended in the early 2000s. So there was a lot of activity here in the 1990s and in the early 2000s. So I'm going to try and show you basically. If you've seen the news, you'll know where they were anyway, but I'm going to try and show you basically the scenario of it. So all here would have been full of Orange men. That field as well would have been full of Orange men. And that tree, wee hedge line there, that you can see in the distance, that's actually a wee stream. And that field there would have been full of Orange men who were trying to push across that stream. And the road here would also have been full of Orange men as well, right the whole way up there. It would have been jam-packed. But then what you had down there towards the bridge, as you can see the bridge there where the stream goes, is basically you had the security forces. And what the security forces then were doing was they blocked the road. So they blocked the road that the Orange men couldn't parade through there, because the Garvackie Road is on down that way. Those houses wouldn't have been here, I don't think, at that time. And so there was Land Rovers, there was police, and also in the field there then there was also army as well, to try and stop the Orange men as well. Now then what happened was they put bollards and stuff in, barbed wire and steel, and they barricaded then the road off, as well as the surrounding countryside. So at least this looks very peaceful today, and you can see the cows grazing, and thankfully that it is peaceful today, but it certainly wasn't peaceful back then. And there was a lot of confusion, and there was a lot of stuff going on back then, but thankfully it's peaceful today. So there you are. You can all say that you've seen the Drumcree standoff site, and that was back in the 1990s, and it ended in the early 2000s. And of course I have to tell the joke. You know why the chicken crossed the Garvackie Road, don't you? It's because its fellers and its forefellers had crossed it before it. Thanks for watching, and God bless.